Hi, this is the work for numbers 80 through 100 of the Chapter 6 ASVAB review packet. I put my solutions to the packet on Canvas, but some people said they would prefer a video for me talking through it. So I'm going to have my work that I just worked out, but I'm just going to talk through how I did those. And hopefully that will help you. And you can just let me know if you have any questions. I'd be glad to help you out if needed. So let's see here. Try and switch that to a different color. Okay, so on this first one on number 80, it says Sam's Shoe Store put all its merchandise on sale for 20% off. If Jason saved $10 by purchasing one pair of shoes during the sale, what was the original price of the shoes? So if you're trying to find how much discount something is, you can turn that 20% into a decimal. So I have 0.20. And there's different ways you could do this problem, but I chose to go ahead and take the original amount, multiply it by 0.20, which is the discount, to see which one would give me $10. So I just decided to start with the 50. I did 50 times 0.2. You can see my multiplication work, and I got $10. So the first one I picked gave me the correct answer, so I didn't need to do others. If I had started at the top of the list, then I would have had to, keep going until I found the one that gave me $10. Okay. All right. On a lot of this other information in the packet would be a good review to kind of look through. Then when you get to 81, it says Bob's bowling scores for the last 5 games were 180, 182, 184, 186, and 188. What was his average bowling score? So you can see here that I added up all of those numbers. Remember, average, you're just adding up the numbers and dividing by how many there are. So in this case, I added them up and got 920. And then I divided by how many numbers there were, which is 5, and got an average of 184, which was C. On 82, it's saying that Conroy averaged 30 miles an hour for 2 hours he drove in town and 60 miles an hour for the 2 hours he drove on the highway. What was his average speed? Now, because he drove for 2 hours at each speed, then I could just add the 2 up and divide by 2 to get 45, which is C. If he had done the different speeds for different amounts of time, it would have been a little more complex. But in this case, we could just average the 2 together. All right, on 83, this one you have to just be careful with the information being given. This one is talking about some trees, and it says there's 12 trees that are 80 years old, 8 trees that are 24 years old. What's the closest approximation of the average age of the trees? So I multiplied 12 times 80 to get the age, the overall total age for those first 12 trees. Then I multiplied 8 times 24 to get 192, and that's the total age of those 8 trees. So when I added those up, the 960 and the 192, I got 1,152. Now that's the total age of all the trees. But when I divide, I don't want to just divide by 2. We're not talking about 2 trees here. We're talking about 12 plus 8, which is 20 trees. So I had to go 1,152 divided by 20, which you can see I did right here. And when I actually divided that out, I got 57.6. And the directions say the closest approximation. And so the closest answer to 57.6 is 58, which is B. Okay, on 84, this gets into some geometry ones. And if you look in the packet, they give you a lot of geometry formulas. And those would be a good idea to look over because they're kind of expecting you to know some of those basic formulas. But on 84, it says, what is the area in square inches of a triangle with base 10 and height 8? That's just knowing that the area of a triangle formula is 1/2 base times height. So 1/2 10 times 8. And if you multiply 10 and 8, you get 80. And half of that is 40, which is B. On 85, the perimeter of a triangle, the way I think of a perimeter is how much fencing it would take to go around that triangle. So if I add up 3 plus 4 plus 5, I get 12. Okay, on 86, it says if the perimeter of a square tabletop is 32 feet, what is the area of the tabletop? A lot of times I like to draw a picture. In this case, I drew a square, and I have to think about what do I know about a square? And you can see I marked these sides of the square congruent because I know one thing about a square is that all 4 sides are the same length. If it told me the perimeter is 32, then I could divide 32 divided by 8. Actually, divided by 4. Let me erase that. I didn't say that right. But if I do 32 divided by 4, I get 8. So I knew each side of the square was 8. But now the question's saying, you know, to be careful not to select the 8. Sometimes the common mistake answers are answer choices. So be careful. What's the question actually asking for? And in this case, I can go 8 times 8 because the area of a square is base times height. So 8 times 8 gives me 64, which is C. On 87, it's telling me that the length of the rectangle is twice the width. Again, I drew a picture. So if I know the width is x, then the length is double that, which is 2x. And if the perimeter is 30, remember if I add up all these sides, I've got x plus 2x plus x plus 2x. If I add up all those sides, I get 6x, and that's equal to the perimeter, which is 30. And if I solve for that, I get 5. And again, if x is 5, that is my width. And the question is saying, what is the width? Okay, so just be careful what the question is asking for. On 88, it says a circular opening has a diameter of 8.5, or I wrote it at 8.5, and it wants to know the radius. So that's just knowing the fact that the diameter goes all the way across the circle through the center, and the radius just goes halfway from the edge of the circle out to the center is the radius. So if you know what the diameter is, you can just divide that by 2 to get what the radius is. So in this case, the answer is 4.25, which is D. On 89, it says the radius of a hoop is 10 inches. If you roll the hoop along a straight path through 6 revolutions, how far will it roll in inches? And I use 3.14 for pi. So that's actually asking, you think about the outside length of a hoop, that is talking about the circumference. It's like the perimeter of a circle, but the circumference formula is 2 pi r. So you can see I used that here. I plugged the 10 in for the radius and got 20 pi. But it says if the hoop spins 6 times, then you can see I multiplied by the 6 to get 120 pi. And then if you actually plug in 3.14 for pi and multiply, you can see I got 376.8, which was answer choice D. Okay, then on 90, this is just some basic algebra. So you can see on 90, I subtracted by 5 on both sides and got x is 7. You can see 91, I moved over here, and you can see, you know, I added 13 to both sides, and then I divided by 4 on both sides to get x is equal to 10. And then on 92, it's a little bit hard to see what I did, but if I have this fraction 1/4, one way to think of it is I'm multiplying by 4 on both sides to get rid of the fraction and to get x by itself. And so in this case, the 7 times 4 gives you 28, which is what I put here. All right, on 93, that's just using order of operations. So I can see here my choices are to subtract or to multiply. Well, if you think of that, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or PEMDAS, then you need to multiply before you add and subtract. So you can see I did -3 times -4 to get +12, and then 1 plus 12 gives me 13. But again, you've got to do the things in the right order of operations. On 94, you can see I added 6 to both sides, and I subtracted 6 from both sides, and then I divided by -3 on both sides, and then I solved to get x equals 8. And then on 95, you can see I subtracted by 3 on both sides, and then I multiplied by -4 on both sides to get x is equal to 40. Okay, on 96, these are expressions, not equations. So all I'm doing is substituting in, like a is equal to 2, b is equal to -1. I'm substituting the 2 in for the a's place, the -1 in for b's place, and you can see I have the work for that right here. And once I do that, I'm just working things out in the right order of operations. 4 times 2 is 8, 3 times -1 is -3, and I solve and get x equal to, or I end up with 5. I'm not actually solving for x, I'm just evaluating that expression. On number 97, you can see I plugged in -7 in for J's place. I plugged in 4 in for R's place, and I plugged -7 again in for J and 4 in for R. Again, order of operations says I'm going to multiply -10 times -7 is 70. I've got my -4, and then I'm multiplying the 3 times -7 times 4 gives me -84. When I get those combined together, I end up with -18. You can see I moved down here to do 98, 99, and 100. So 98, again, I plugged in the -4 in for y's place, and I plugged in the 6 in for z's place. And when I evaluated that expression, I ended up with 16. And then on 99, it's giving me the volume formula and asking me to use that formula. So it's telling me the base has a radius of 3 and the height of 4. So plug numbers in. And then just evaluate it. So you can see here I did 3 squared is 9, and then 9 times 4 is 36 pi. And then the last one is just saying if x is equal to 3, what is the value of 3x minus x? And again, you're just substituting 3 in for x's place. So I put in 3 in here, I put in 3 in here, and then I end up with 9 minus 3, which is 6. Okay, so thanks for watching. Hopefully that helped. Feel free to message me on Canvas if you have any questions, or if you need me to set up a Zoom at some point tomorrow to help you out before the test on Friday, I can do that as well. Thanks. Bye.